Hey, this is Xander Fryer with Shit You Don't Learn in College, and today we're going to talk about how to overcome failure and why this is actually an essential part of being successful. Now, we've all heard things like, you gotta fail forward, you gotta be willing to fail and make mistakes if you ever wanna learn and grow and get better and be successful. We're told there's no such thing as failure, there's just learning opportunities, and I get all of that, right? But failure is still scary, it's difficult, and we all wanna avoid it as much as possible because, well, it sucks, it makes us uncomfortable, right? So if we know that failure is an essential part of being successful, how do we actually start to embrace that, right? Now, in their book, Go for No, Andrea Waltz talks about that there's actually 5 stages to success as it relates to your relationship with failure. Now, 100% of people out there have the ability to fail. This is step 1. When you have the ability to fail, you can fail. Now, step 2 is the top 20% of the more successful people in life have a willingness to fail. They are willing to fail and deal with a little bit of failure because they know that if they're willing to deal with a little bit of failure, then they're gonna learn from it and they're gonna move forward and they're gonna get better. And this is like the top 20% of people. These are, normally some of your people that have more higher paying jobs, your mid to high level pay, that sort of thing, right? And then you go from a willingness to fail to step number 3, which is a wantingness to fail. Whoa, what? You actually want to fail. Yeah. Now, these are more your top 5% of people out there. These are the top performers in organizations. These are the people that hit executive levels in different organizations, or they can become pretty active in sports, professional sports, things like that, right? Now, you actually have a wantingness to fail because you know that the more you fail, the more you learn, the better you get. Right? And this is that 3rd stage of failure and how it relates to success. Then there's a 4th stage to failure. It's a wantingness to fail bigger and fail faster because you know if you fail bigger and you fail faster, you're gonna learn more and you're gonna learn quicker. And this is the top 1%. These are the high performers, these are the professional athletes that become the all-stars, these are the CEOs, these are the people that really, really start to make a difference. And then there's the last stage of failure, which is not only do you want to fail, not only do you want to fail more and bigger and faster, but you start to fail exponentially by teaching others to do the same. These are the Hall of Famers. These are the world changers. These are the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musks, the Sarah Blakeleys of the world, right? These are the people that create movements. But it all comes down to a desire to want to fail more, fail bigger, and help others do the same. Now, how can you develop this? Well, I'm gonna give you 3 tips to start to develop this now. So the first step to learning how to want to fail is understanding why we're so afraid of failure to begin with. And I'm gonna teach you a little secret here because the truth is you're actually not afraid of failure. Well, yes, I am, Xander. That's why I'm watching this video. You're close. But the reason that you're afraid of failure is actually not the failure itself. You're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of being seen failing. Most people, if they were given the opportunity to, go take a chance in a bubble where nobody would see anything happen, right? You could go take a chance over here and nobody would see it happening and nobody would know whether or not you would fail. You'd be totally fine with it. But where it really comes into play is when people can see you failing, right? This is what we're actually afraid of. We're afraid of the feeling of shame. We're afraid of the feeling of being criticized and judged by others, which is perfectly natural because that's part of evolution. Now, Dr. David Hawkins mentions this in his book, Power versus Force. He says that shame is the lowest energetic emotion that a human can feel, just above death, which makes sense why we fear shame so much. Because as evolutionary man, right, to be socially shamed would be, you'd be ostracized, you'd be kicked out of a small community and you would die, right? So shame and death were actually very, very closely related to evolutionary man. So our subconscious programming, our evolutionary programming tells us you don't want to be criticized, you don't want to be judged by other people because you might be outcast from the tribe and you might die. So this is why we actually fear failure. We don't actually fear failure. We fear people seeing us fail, because that'll make us feel less than. It'll make us feel criticized. It might make us feel ostracized. And that's really what's going on in our head. So the first step is understanding where this fear actually comes from. And it's not actually failure itself. It's the fear of being seen failing. So step number 2, now that we understand where the fear is coming from, we obviously want to start to shift that. And this is where you want to dig into what we refer to as the growth mindset. Now, if you haven't read the book Mindsets by Carol Dweck, Carol Dweck is a PhD from Stanford, and she wrote a book called Mindset, where she developed a theory around the single biggest signifier of what leads people to be successful and what leads people not to be successful. And all it came down to was the difference between what she referred to as a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So let me share the mindsets with you to make sure that you understand. Now, let's imagine that when you're born, you're given a certain level of capability in any specific skill set or area, right? When you're born, you have, from a 1 to a 10 level of your ability to communicate and empathize with others. You have a 1 to a 10 level of your ability to speak and ability to write and be creative or be systematic and linear, right? And so we're all given these innate skill sets, right? Now, what differentiates the successful people and the unsuccessful people, says Carol Dweck, is fixed mindset people believe that whatever we're given, right, to some degree is essentially what we're born with is what we have for the rest of our life. So if you're given a 5 out of 10, well, that's what you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. You're a 5. So when people start to say, "Oh, I'm not a good speaker," right? They say, this is a fixed mindset. I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at sales. When I first quit my job and I started as an entrepreneur, I was terrible at marketing. I was terrible at sales, right? But I had a growth mindset. I said, well, if I'm at a 2 or a 3 out of 10 right now, I can grow and develop that to be a 10. That's the growth mindset. You might be given a 2 or 3 in a specific area, but if you're passionate about something and you want to make something work, you can actually learn and grow. If you wanted to learn how to be a dancer or a singer, you can learn and develop from a 2 to a 3 to a 4 to a 5 to a 6 to a 7 to an 8 to a 9 to a 10 by putting the work in, by practicing, learning, making mistakes. This is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now let's think about how this actually plays out in the real world. Now, if we have a fixed mindset, right? Let's say I want to be an entrepreneur and I'm in a 9 to 5 and I want to start my business, but I know that I have the ability of an entrepreneur of maybe like a 3 or a 4, right? And I know that to be successful, I'm going to have to be a 7, 8, 9, or a 10. Well, if I have a fixed mindset, I won't even try. I won't even try to be an entrepreneur. I won't even put myself out there, right? Because if I go put myself out there at a level 4, I'm going to fail and everybody's going to see it. And that means I'm forever at a level 4 and everybody just saw it and I'm stuck here, right? That's a fixed mindset. But as a growth mindset person, you go, okay, well, I'm at a level 4, but I'm going to go try anyways. And you're going to go fail, but then I'm going to learn how to be a level 5 from failing. And then I'm going to go try again. I'm going to fail again. I'm going to be a level 6. I'm going to go try again. I'm going to fail again. I'm going to be a level 7, then an 8, then a 9. And oh my God, all of a sudden, I start to succeed. That's how this plays out. When you realize that whatever skill set or what area you have in your life, you tell yourself you're a bad speaker, well, the reality is you can become better. You tell yourself you're an introvert, but you want to be more extroverted. I'm an introvert. Here I am on camera, right? You tell yourself that you're not great at sales, well, you can become better. In the end, everything is a learnable skill no matter what you're looking at, and you can get better in any area, and that's the growth mindset you need to embody. So the last tip that I'm going to give you to really help you overcome any fears of failure and start getting out there is what I call no goals. This is something that I teach all of our clients at High Impact Coaching, and it completely transforms their ability to be entrepreneurs. Now, I'm not talking about no goals like you don't have any goals. It's no goals. You have goals for how many no's you actually get. What? That sounds crazy, right? So here's the way that this works. We had one of our clients had a goal of getting to 10K a month, right? And so he would start working and he would go and he would get to about 9K halfway through the month. And because he was so close to his goal, he would start to let up off the gas, right? And as he would let up off the gas, he would lose momentum. And then by the end of the month, he ended up with 9K. Even though he got 9K in the first half of the month, he didn't get anything in the second half of the month because he had yes goals. He had revenue goals. So what we did is we switched him to no goals. We said, okay, what I want you to do, Tim, I want you to set goals for how many no's you get. I want you to set goals for how many no's you get from potential clients each month. And he said, okay, well, if I want to hit 10K a month, normally I get 1 yes for every 2 no's. And my price point is $3,500. So I need to get 3 yeses. That means I need to get 6 no's. And so he would set out to get 6 no's. right? And let's say in the first half of the month, he got 2 yeses, right? 2 yeses right away, and then he got no no's. Well, he still has 6 no's to get, so he's gonna even work harder. And he's gonna go get a couple more enrollments, and maybe he's still got 4 no's to go. He's gonna keep going until he gets those 6 no's, and by the end of the month, he's made $20,000, right? So you can see the power of setting no goals. If you knew that you had to get 9 no's for every 1 yes you'd get, well, how quickly would you just start to go get those no's? You just start asking everybody, right? The reality is if you set failure goals, you'll start to get to your success goals much, much faster, and you'll go well beyond them even when you're having really good months. So start to set no goals instead of success goals. See, here's the deal, guys. In the end, failure is inevitable. We all have the ability to fail. Every single one of us will do it. Now, whether or not you embrace it for what it is, a learning opportunity, and you start to crave the desire to have more of it, well, that's gonna be up to you. And when you decide to do that, you're gonna start to see a lot more success rolling in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button below and let me know. If you have any specific topics you want me to cover in any future videos, go ahead and comment that below as well. And do not forget to subscribe to our channel below so you never miss another great video, and I'll see you in there.